All right, the NBA draft lottery is complete, and Orlando Magic is on the clock with the first pick. And I want to go over the Ringers 2022 mock draft done by Kevin O'Connor. So that's what we'll be doing on this video. Try not to be too long with this, man, but let's go ahead and get everything out of the way first and foremost. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. A lot of content like this coming from myself, but we also got the podcast that's popping off with a full panel of some of my friends talking about basketball, football, and things of that nature. Everything that's going on around the sport. But for this video, we just want to go over this mock draft from the Ringer, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I think about it, and some below the surface analysis on it, and then it'd be good to see what y'all think about what I think about the mock draft and some of these prospects in the comment section. So make sure you leave your comments in the comment section. But let's get to what the Ringer had to offer us, and right away you can see Kevin O'Connor is, I don't know if he's saying that this is the pick that he would pick, or he think that from what he's hearing around the league and seeing what's on the roster for the Orlando Magic, that this is what they should take, or what he think they gonna take. And Chet Holmgren is a lot of people's number one pick. I mean, he's 7'1". He's got a 7'6" wingspan. The weight is a question for a lot of people. He's on the small side. He's below 200 pounds right now, so he got to put some weight on. But at 7'1" and long arms like he has, and willing to play on the defensive end, I think worst case scenario for Chet Holmgren is, as skilled as he is, if it takes him a year or two for his offense to actually reach, the potential we think he can reach. I mean, because he's always been more skilled than everybody on the floor with him, whether he was in high school and somewhat at Gonzaga, but his offense didn't explode at Gonzaga. But what did is his rim protection and his shot blocking. So shot blocking usually translates. But for this pick for Orlando, I'm looking at their roster. They just picked a guy like this 2-3 years ago, and that's Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba is 7'1". I think he had a 7'10" wingspan. I mean, the dude is ridiculously long. He's athletic at the rim as well. He got some scoring ability, and he got good shot mechanics. So everyone knew he was going to turn into a decent knockdown shooter from three, just from what they seen in college. But he doesn't have the ball skills and the offensive upside that Chet Holmgren has. Chet Holmgren could actually, take you off the dribble and all of that. So it's really tough about this pick. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard to pass up because you're afraid to not pick this guy, and then he turned out to be the best guy of the draft. So it's a tough spot to be in for Orlando. But I'm just looking at, they got Mo Bamba. He's a center. They just traded for Wendell Carter Jr., and he blossomed toward the end of the year, even on the defensive end as a shot blocker, a rebounder, and he can score a little bit too. I like Carter Jr. So I think you got everything you need in the paint with Wendell Carter Jr., and I think Mo Bamba is a free agent, so they got to re-sign him. But if you're trying to build a squad, I think Paolo Banchero is probably the best pick for Orlando. And in my opinion, I think Paolo is the best prospect in the draft. I think he's better than Holmgren. I mean, he's just not 7 foot, but I think he's better than Holmgren. And I'm gonna tell you why. When you're rebuilding, every team that's trying to build a squad, you're looking for your number one. So you can pick all you want to and try to build a squad. It don't matter what you pick until you find that guy that is your number one and could be a number one on majority of the teams that he go to in the league. You're not gonna be a real contender. And it's some NBA teams out there who really don't have a number one that plays really good team ball. They got shooters, they got defenders, and they got an identity, and they just play good ball. And those are teams like how Toronto was. Well, DeRozan was a number one, but he wasn't. Well, bad example. Miami Heat right now, right? Jimmy Butler is, in my opinion, a number two. But he's a really good number two. And Tyler Hero, he could be like a number two maybe. So they got a lot of good players. They just don't have that guy that's a number one, and that's what Miami is missing right now in this Boston series. As good as Miami played, and as good a record they had, all from playing team ball, it comes down to a point where you need that number one guy. And I think Banchero is that. And Chet Holmgren, I don't think he's that offensively. He could be, and I could be wrong. I mean, because he got the skills, but he's just giving me a little bit of Keith Van Horn. Very talented guy in college. Probably the best prospect coming out of college other than Tim Duncan at that time. I think it was Duncan and Van Horn, and everyone was like, who do you take? Who do you take? And here's Van Horn, this guy that's 6'11", handle the ball, shoot the ball, run the break, playing the post. I mean, Van Horn had it all. I mean, he was one of my favorite players coming out of college, other than Tim Duncan that year. But Van Horn had it all. And sometimes you got to have the skill set, and you got to have the mindset to carry a team and carry a franchise. And unfortunately, I just don't see that from Chet. He got all the skill in the world, but I see it in Banchero. I see that he is the type of guy that can carry a team or franchise. The dude got an offensive bag. He can score it. He want to score it. He can hit the mid range. He can hit the three. The dude can do a lot, man. So if I'm Orlando, I'm taking Paolo with that pick, that number one pick. But I guess they can't lose with picking Chet. So we'll see if they do that. Number two looks like OKC might be making another mistake, because honestly, if Chet goes first, I would be picking Paolo with number two. Honestly, I think he's a number one, but as far as Jabari Smith, I like him, but it's the same thing. He's got a good skill hit set. He's 6'10". He can shoot the three, shoot the jump shot. He's long, athletic, dedicated on defense, and all of that good stuff. My comparison with him would be O'Connell is comparing him to Rashard Lewis. It's not a bad one. I wouldn't compare him to Michael Porter Jr. and all that. Michael Porter Jr. is just a talented, gifted scorer, period. Jabari Smith is a little different. I see a little bit of Jeremy Grant in him. And Jeremy Grant is just not a number one that's going to carry a franchise or a team. And I think everybody's looking for that. Thunder got a bunch of guys that are complementary pieces. They're very good, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey, but they don't have a number one yet. I think Banchero is that number one, but Smith is definitely a good pick. So that leaves the Rockets getting Paolo Banchero, and I just don't like him with the Rockets. I mean, and not for the Rockets. I love it for the Rockets. I don't love it for Paolo. I think the Rockets I think they'll fumble this. They'll fumble the bag on this kid. So I don't like him going there, but it's a good pick for the Rockets. I think if he falls to number 3, they're actually getting a better prospect out of the top 3 guys. Sacramento. Now this was interesting because they just had Halliburton and had him in the backcourt with De'Aaron Fox, and they drafted Davion Mitchell, who is a really good player, but with his size, I think he's better suited as a backup. He's a good defender, but he also can be instant offense off the bench. But they had Halliburton, and he was they had Halliburton. He was playing good for them, and they just traded him. Got rid of him, but they got a good piece back. They got Sabonis back, so it wasn't a horrible trade. So I don't know if the optics looks good for them to get rid of a good player that they drafted just last year and then drafted the exact same position a year later. But maybe getting Sabonis was a good thing for them, and now you get a two guard who's a little bit better than Halliburton, in my opinion. When it comes to, I like scorers, and I like people with a scorer's mentality, because I think that's what you need on your team. First and foremost, you got to have that number one that it's just a mismatch, because he's a relentless scorer and he can score in a variety of different ways, and he wants to score on you. He wants to kill you by scoring. I think every team needs that one guy, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Luka, whether it's KD, whether it's Kyrie, whether it's Steph. Everyone needs that, and then you surround it with other pieces, right? Out of the four guys we just seen, Chet Holmgren, Smith, Paolo, and Shaedon Sharpe. I think Shaedon Sharpe and Paolo are the two number one guys that I see in that light. And so for that reason, those two are the two guys that I think, if you're building a squad and you don't have this guy yet, you have to take Shaedon Sharpe or Paolo Banchero. Regardless of how good the 7-foot Chet Holmgren is, I just don't see that in him from that mentality. And as good as Anthony Davis is, he had, in order for him to be successful, he had to go and play with a number one like LeBron to go somewhere. He couldn't take his team there being the alpha and being the number one, because I don't think his mentality is there. Because if it was, he would have took the torch from LeBron this year, right? They won a championship and he's still being passive. Oh, he would have took the torch from LeBron actually last year, but I don't think that's in him. So I say all that to say this: if Shaedon Sharpe goes number 4 to Sacramento, is a very good pick. I like him starting right away with De'Aaron Fox and now Sabonis, and I think they got something good going forward if they pick that. Jaden Ivey going to Detroit, teaming him up with Cade Cunningham in the backcourt. Not a bad idea. I like him. He's very athletic. He can shoot it a little bit. I don't like his shooting form. It's kind of very similar to Ja Morant's, which is interesting because I think they got a coach in common. I think his mom might be a coach, and his mom also has some dealings with Ja Morant as well. So I don't know. Maybe that's why that shot is so similar. But Jaden Ivey is a good pick here. But I think the top 4 guys that we just already talked about, I think those are the ones that are, franchise, foundational type players. And the rest of these guys are just going to be good pieces until they find that guy. I be honest with you, I only think it's it might not even be 4. It might just be 3 of them. It might just be Chet, Paolo, and Shaedon Sharpe. Jabari Smith might be. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, my comparison for him is Jeremy Grant. I think he'll be a good number 2 or number 3 for a squad in the near future, but I just don't see him as a number 1. I could be wrong though. Keegan Murray. I don't know what the Pacers are doing. I don't know if they're really rebuilding. I mean, they got rid of Sabonis last year. They did bring in Halliburton. Miles Turner has been rumored. I thought they was gonna get rid of him last year, along with Sabonis, but they didn't. They kept him, but it's still teams. I think like the Charlotte Hornets and some other squads that might be interested in doing a trade for them. So I don't know if they're rebuilding or not, but Keegan Murray was a good player. I like his size. I like his physicality. This is a good pickup for them as well. AJ Griffin. This trade has been rumored to be, or not this trade, but this pick has been rumored to be part of a trade package to get Jeremy Grant from Detroit. And if the Blazers are thinking about doing that, I would just go ahead and do it. Because I don't think there's at number 7. I don't think you're gonna find someone that's gonna help Dame Lillard as much as CJ McCollum helped Dame Lillard, right? And my knock on the Portland Trail Blazers was always CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard both are good players. Dame Lillard is a great player. But CJ McCollum had to play the 2, and I think CJ McCollum has been a point guard this whole time. And I think he's probably listed at 6'4", but he's probably 6'2". And he's not a crazy good defender. And neither is Dame Lillard. So your number 1 and your number 2 player both aren't lockdown defenders. And they both are not huge players. And you have to play against all these other great guards. And that's kind of the problem that Brooklyn Nets ran into. They had those small wings and small point guards trying to guard people like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You had Seth Curry, you had Kyrie Irving, you had Patty Mills, and your biggest guard was Goran Dragic, right? Those are 4 small guards, and they couldn't stop Tatum or Jaylen Brown from getting to the paint, not even a little bit. So that was kind of the issue with the Portland Trail Blazers. So it's a good thing that they got rid of CJ McCollum and broke that tandem up, even though I hated to see them get broken up. But Dame Lillard needs help like ASAP. And I think I like the kid, Anthony Simons. Don't know if he'll be a starter. He deserves to be a starter, but then you fall into the same thing you had with CJ McCollum with 2 small guards. So I like him as instant offense. However, I would trade this pick for Jeremy Grant, and I would really love to see Jeremy Grant play the 2 or the 3 or the 4 in Portland and be able to be a real 3-and-D guy with some experience versus a 3-and-D guy that's a rookie. But if they do take this pick, I don't know if he plays early or right away. But we'll see. But I would trade that pick. Johnny Davis from Wisconsin. This is interesting because we just got finished talking about CJ McCollum. They got him. I would keep him at point guard. I love him there. At their 2, so they had CJ McCollum at the point, and their 2 wing players was Brandon Ingram and Herb Jones. Herb Jones is a good defender. Probably, I mean, to be honest with you, what we seen from him in the playoffs, man, he might already be whatever is above good. I don't want to say great yet for somebody so young, but Herb Jones was a heck of a defender, man. Long arms. He got steals. He kept his man in front of him. He blocked threes. He blocked jump shots. He hustled. Oh, man. Herb Jones is good, man. I would love to see him stand in the starting lineup. That's probably what's going to happen. And they had Jackson Hayes and Valanciunas in the paint. Of course, Zion comes back, so either Hayes or Valanciunas going to the bench. I don't know which one. But it looked like their starting lineup is set and solid. Then off the bench, they had Alvarez, who's a good backup. Then they had Devontae Graham. who's also a good backup. So as far as taking a point guard, I don't know why they would. It'd be interesting. So I don't know. This is an interesting pick. They don't have a whole lot of holes, so this is just a pick that's just a luxury for them. But one thing I could say, if they did take him at 6'4", that probably will make them even more dangerous as a defensive team, because he's long. He's 6'4", right? He's got size. He's about 200 pounds. And that's different from Alvarez and Devontae Graham, who both look like they're about 5'11". Both of them probably listed at 6 foot 6'1", but this is a legit 6'4" with long arms. So it makes them a little bit more versatile. They don't have to bring small guards off the bench if they don't want to. They could DNP him or give him less minutes and then play the bigger guy if he's going to be a defensive threat. San Antonio usually make really good picks, but I don't know what Popovich is doing in San Antonio anymore. And he's got a guard over there, and Lonnie Walker Jr., who I think he's wasting his talent. And Pop, that's the way he coaches. He don't. He leaves something on the table for some players. We kind of knew how good Kawhi was, but Pop didn't really let Kawhi just explode and take over, right? Same thing when Steven Jackson was there. Steven Jackson played in the box. When T-Mac went there trying to win the championship before he retired, he barely paid T-Mac. Tim Duncan, as great as he was, he never went out there and was just a guy averaging 29, 30 points a game. Even Tim Duncan played in the box. Ginobili came off the bench for him his whole career. Patty Mills have shot the ball more in Brooklyn this year than I seen him shoot in the last 4 or 5 years. He just don't let people go nuts in his system. DeMar DeRozan is another guy. We thought he was done in San Antonio. He got traded for Kawhi, went to San Antonio, and just disappeared. Same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge, right? So, and then we see DeMar DeRozan leave and go to Chicago and was in the MVP discussion for the first beginning of the year. So, it'll be interesting to see, because this is another team. I don't see how you justify taking a guard, because Lonnie Walker Jr., in my opinion, is ready to break out, and DeJounte Murray is the starting point guard there. Unless they think they're going to lose Lonnie Walker to free agency, I don't see why they would take a point guard here. This probably would be a good idea for them to trade out. Because I don't see if it's any pieces that you can take at number 9 that's going to be worth it. That's not a guard. That's really no bigs. Maybe they can get Froggy and take the center from Duke, but I don't know if that's number 9 is too early to get value out of him. But I just don't see why they would take a guard. But we'll see. The Wizards, they just picked up Porzingis in a trade, got rid of Dinwiddie. This Baylor freshman, this prospect, 6'9", 230 pounds, and a good defender. The guy can defend on the perimeter. He can defend in the post a little bit, man. I like him. I already like what they got in Washington with Rui Hachimura, if I'm saying his name properly. I think he's going to be a third-year player out of Gonzaga. I always said that he reminded me of Kawhi a little bit, because he was about same measurements, about 6'9", 230, maybe about 6'10-ish, long arms, big body. And when I seen him play against Duke, when Zion and RJ Barrett was there, I mean, he guarded them both real well, and then went at them at the other end and scored as well. So If Jeremy can ever get into that rotation, maybe even the starting lineup, they're not going to need a whole bunch of points from him, because you go get 25 a game from Bill. You probably get another 20 from Porzingis if he's healthy, and then you got a good defender and rebounding Archimuro, who also can hit open shots and can get his own shot if needed, and then someone like Jeremy out there with them. I think that's a good lineup. So I would buy this at number 10. Jalen Duren. Oh man. I like him. He's listed 6'10", 230, and to be honest, and he's a freshman. And to be honest with you, I watched the Memphis games only really to see Imani Bates. I wanted to see Imani Bates. And Imani Bates struggled a little bit. But in the process of trying to see how good Imani Bates was, I got to see how good Duren was, and I like him, man. But looking at his measurements at 6'10", watching him play, for some reason, it just looked like he was 6'7". So I don't know what's up with that. He looked, he didn't play super small. It's just he didn't look like a typical long 6'10", like I'm used to seeing on the basketball court. He looked like a I don't know, man. Kind of put you in the mind of I don't know, maybe Julius Randle, maybe. I don't know. He just didn't look 6'10", but I like him. And for New York, man, this is tough, man. I guess you take the best prospect available. They got someone like Mitchell Robinson there. I don't know if they're going to re-sign him, but if they take the kid from Duke, he kind of reminds me of Mitchell Robinson a little bit. So I don't see, maybe New York see that as, stay away from it, or we already got this guy, we're going to re-sign him. I don't know. But this wouldn't be a bad pick for the kid from Duke. But Duren, well, not bad. I buy that. All right, Ousmane Dieng, 6'10", 200 pounds, 19-year-old kid. This would be OKC's second pick. And I'm not so sure if this is a good pick for them. He won't play. Not right away. I mean, they real young. OKC is really young. Josh Giddey is young. Then they're gonna be picking somebody at number 2 that's young. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is probably their leader right now, and he's in his 5th year, maybe 4th year. I mean, it's a young squad, so they just getting younger and younger with all these picks, and OKC got a lot of picks, so they getting younger and younger. I don't know if all these guys are gonna play, but this wouldn't be the guy I pick at number 12. I'll tell you that, but we'll see where they go with it. Mark Williams going to the Charlotte Hornets at number 13, and I'm okay with this pick. 242 pounds. He's got an NBA body already, 7-footer, real active around the rim. He's a good prospect, and I think Charlotte needs a center. They haven't had a real big center since they had Dwight Howard for that 1 year, and I think before they had Dwight, they had Al Jefferson, they had Big Al for a little while. I think he made All-Star that year. But that, other than that, they've just been making do with what they could do. I think they had Mason Plumlee starting last year, and they tried Bismarck Biyombo a couple of years. I mean, Frank Kaminsky. I mean, they just haven't found someone that could be the I don't know, a foundational piece at their position. So it'd be a breath of fresh air if they take Mark Williams at number 13. Honestly, I don't know how he falls to 13 because I see a couple of teams that could use him between the ninth pick, before, 9 and 10. Like New York could take him, but Duren wasn't a bad pick for New York. But OKC has 2 picks, so after they take whoever they take at number 2, if they don't take the 7-footer and Chet Holmgren at number 2, or at number 2, if he was available, then I think it'd be good to come back and get Mark Williams, which would probably be a better draft strategy. If Chet's not going number 1, OKC at number 2, I probably would not pick him. I probably go for Banchero, and then I can come back and get Mark Williams if I'm looking for size and length at the rim at number 12. So that'd be interesting. And I'm just gonna do the first 15. So the Cavaliers, I like what they got. Here's a 6'6" guard. Don't know if he's going to be a point guard or be a wing, but I think the Cavaliers are pretty solid at point guard right now with Garland, and they got Sexton coming back off an injury, and I think he's trade bait. Personally, I wouldn't keep Sexton. So I think Cleveland can go anywhere or any position because they got Garland. They're set with that. And they played big this season with marketing, the rookie Mobley and Jared Allen, and then they got Kevin Love coming off the bench. I'm good with that with my front court. If they just want to get a couple of more wing defenders or some shooters, I think that'd be the way to go. But I think Sexton is trade bait at this point. Because unless he's comfortable with backing up Garland, I wouldn't play them together. If he's comfortable backing up Garland, because Sexton was the starter before he got hurt, but Garland came out and just exploded, and I think he's a better scoring option in my opinion. I just like Garland's game better, but we'll see how they do. And at number 15, Charlotte Hornets with their second pick. O'Connor got them picking Agbaji from Kansas, who is 6'4" with long arm, 217-pound senior from Kansas, and the dude can shoot. Right, the dude can shoot. He's athletic. He can go get a lob at the rim. He can run. He can defend. He's got a good body. This is a good pick at number 15, man. This is a really good pick. And if he's still there at 15, I take him. One thing I think the Hornets was a little bit too quick on was giving up on Malik Monk. I always like Malik Monk, and I always like players who are athletic, can handle the ball and can shoot. Kind of like how J.R. Smith was. I always like players like that, man. I mean, if it kind of like even like how Ray Allen was. Ray Allen had a good 6'5" frame and body. He could shoot it like a real knockdown shooter, like a Kyle Korver or something like that, but had the athleticism of some of your more athletic guards like a Kobe or something like that. Maybe not as athletic as Kobe, but you can't lose with that. And I thought that's what the Hornets had with Malik Monk. But the Hornets had so many guards, man. They had Kemba at one point. They had Tony Parker at one point. They had Malik Monk at one point. They had Terry Rozier, Kemba Walker, Devontae Graham. I mean, there's so many point guards or small off guards that came through Charlotte, and they had them all at the same time, and they were fighting for playing time, and they just couldn't figure out who they was going to keep and who they was going to get rid of, and they got rid of Malik Monk, and that was a shooter. And you seen what he did with the Lakers. I think Charlotte could have used him this year, but they get an opportunity to get another guy just like that, and he might even be a better shooter than Malik Monk. So teaming him up with LaMelo Ball, I can imagine if the the Book Night pick. They didn't play. He didn't get a lot of opportunity on the floor last year. He played in the G League a lot, but we'll see how he's a scorer too, so we'll see if he ever gets on the floor. It'd be interesting how the Hornets do this. Be honest with you, if they want to kind of make some room for these young guys that they're bringing in, and also make some room in their salary cap, they're going to have to at some point get rid of Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward. And as much as I like Terry Rozier, you just got to, got to let him go. Same way you let Kimball go. Let Kimball go do his thing. They gave Kimball an opportunity to go and try to chase a ring with a good team. He went to Boston, but his knees gave out on him, so that ended up being a good decision for the Hornets. And then they got their franchise guy LaMelo, who's a bigger guy. So this would be a good pick. And if the Hornets end up with the kid from Duke, Williams, if they end up with Mark Williams at 13, and I can't say his name, but the shooter from Kansas, if they end up with both of these guys at 13 and 14, 15, then they got lucky. So that's it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section about these picks, man. Tell me if the Ringer got it right, or are they off? Most of the picks 1 through 4 have the same 4 names. It's either gonna be Chet Holmgren first, Banchero first, or some of them even got Jabari Smith first. But those are the 3 guys for the most part. Just some of them got them swapped. Maybe, like I said, for me, it's Banchero all day for me at number 1. But that's it. See y'all in the next one. Peace.